Hey, what's going on, everybody? Um, I'm actually pretty excited tonight. I got my hands on a Super Nintendo this weekend, and I got a couple games. Um, this Super Nintendo is actually just for me. It's so that I can restore games, replace batteries on games, and test them out to make sure that they're working well. There's not too many mods you can do to the Super Nintendo other than cleaning up video signal. There's a couple things you can do there to make some improvements, and you can always put them in one of those really cool looking transparent cases. But we're not going to do any of that tonight. I just got this system. It is working pretty well, and it is actually in pretty good shape. There's no yellowing to the console or anything like that. But I did notice that sometimes it requires me to pop a game in once or twice before it'll actually turn on. That could be the games themselves, or it could be the Super Nintendo has a dirty port. All common stuff. But other than that, it's in perfect condition. So no complaints. But yeah, we'll go ahead and start with the games tonight, and we're just going to do some basic cleaning. One of the games has some yellowing on the back, so we're going to do some retrobright on that tonight too. Of course, being careful to not get any of the labels uh, faded or retro bright itself can tend to like dye or sorry remove the dyes from the stickers or fade them out pretty well. So we'll be careful there. Um, I'd say let's start with Super Mario World. I'm pretty sure the battery's going dead on this also. It takes the what is this? 3.8. Of course, it's not written on the side. Oh yeah, it is. It's a G 3.8. So it should be a 3.8 millimeter gaming driver. Same one as the Game Boy and Game Boy Color cartridges actually. It's two screws at the bottom. And it just lifts up, and there's two tabs here at the top. You just when you lift it up, you just pull it out. Very easy. You just got to remember that when you put it back together, you align those two tabs up and then pop it down. That's it. Even easier than the Game Boy cartridges, honestly. And here is our Super Mario World cartridge. Let's see here. Let me see why my microscope should be working. I'll bring that in screen. And do we get a image? Bear with me, just fix my microscope real quick. There we go. Okay, let's swap that. Okay. So the pins have got some wear on them, but it's not a whole lot. Could be a lot worse. Nothing's broken as far as the traces go. Mm, between the 15 looks a little weird. Let me zoom in on that. That might be a tiny bit of corrosion there. Sorry, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Okay. We'll just give that a good cleaning, make sure it's not actually corroded. I'll zoom out a little bit now. Get a better focus. It's not terrible. I'm getting up towards the back of the RTC batteries here. These are the two tabs we'll end up soldering out tonight. Yeah, it's looking good. I'll flip it over. Okay. That doesn't look terrible. Nah, everything looks pretty good here. I'm not seeing much corrosion, if any at all. Okay. So we'll just take some isopropyl alcohol on this. Start giving it a bit of a good clean. That's 99% isopropyl alcohol is what I'm using. And I'm not pushing very hard here. I'm just trying to work some dirt off. That's all it is. And there's not much on here to begin with. I'm definitely not pushing hard enough to knock off any of the solder pads or anything like that. I'm gonna give it a little bit more detail to the scrub here between the 1 and the 5. Let me see. I feel like something either scratched or ate away at that. So this may have had some sort of corrosion on it at one point in time. Okay. I'll grab a rag real quick. I'm just giving it a nice little pat down. That's it. Help some of that isopropyl alcohol come off a little quicker. Yeah, with the exception of like the normal wear on these pins, they look great. I'm actually looking forward to putting some deoxit on it just to see them kind of shine a little bit better. Let me get my iron ready. We're gonna try and get these two tabs out for the battery. I'm gonna gently. Oh, let me switch cameras actually. I'm afraid my stream's kind of lagging tonight. Hopefully not. Let me see here. Yeah, it seems like it's lagging a little bit. Not maintaining enough video to receive a smooth stream. Hey, bear with me one second. Let me see if I can fix my stream. I don't know what's going on with that. Um. Okay, let's see. Stream settings. Okay. All right, I increased some of the bandwidth there a little bit. Hopefully that'll actually help. It might take a second for it to kick in. Come on. Why is it poor tonight? Is my internet all messed up? No, it shouldn't be. We're looking good. We just increased our internet speed today, actually. Let's see, my upload is yeah, it's normal upload. The hell's going on? Um, okay. I'm gonna try one more thing here. I really want to get this stream in better condition. Um, okay. Okay. I think that might be a little bit better now. It seems to be showing. Of course, ended up losing all my viewers. Ah, boy. Hey, what can you do? Yeah, now my bit rate's normal again. Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that, everybody. That's no bueno. But it happens. What can we do? Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, now everything's excellent. Okay. Eh, that sucks. But we're back. Let's see. Oh, sorry, somebody had to come in and say hi to me real quick. Okay, I'm back. We're working again. So where did we leave off? We are trying to get this battery off. One thing I can tell you about this battery is some games take the CR2025. Some games take the 2032 on the Super Nintendo cartridges. I only have 2025s available today, and I really just wanted to get a fresh battery in here. My saves don't seem to be lasting as long. As in, like, I was able to save a game for a couple minutes, shut off the console, turn it back on. It was there, but then an hour later, I came back and the save was gone. So let's check the voltage on this. It says 3 volts. It should be closer to 3.3, I think, but that might have been positive. Let me see. Positive terminal, negative. Is that what it is? Yeah, positive's on top, negative on the bottom. It's still 3.076 volts. Felt like it was jumping around there a bit. No, I think that battery should be fine. But you know what? This is my first time replacing a battery on a Super Nintendo cartridge, so screw it. Let's go ahead and do another one. You can use, even though it's a 2032, you can use a 2025. It will have less capacity though. That's okay. I did order some 2032 batteries. And finally, I actually ordered some 2032 battery holders. So tonight, we'll go ahead and just pop this battery on here temporarily just to make sure we could get it done. And then we'll pop a battery holder on this. I don't know, maybe even soon as tomorrow. Probably, actually, might have to be next Friday, I think is when the shipping was going to get here. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and try and get this battery out of here. So we'll use some liquid flux. That was too much, but that's okay. And I'm going to use some 60/40 on this. And we're going to add some more solder to it. And we'll get this side also. Okay. Now I'm going to try and we're going to hold on to the battery on the other side real quick. Make sure, see if it gets too hot. It might. I'm just applying very tiny bit of pressure. And it's not all the way out yet, but you can see that, I mean, I wasn't pulling it really. I was letting most of the weight happen from the board. And it just wanted to come right out pretty much. So just touching the solder, getting it nice and molten. Okay, one side's out. Other side's still hanging on there a little bit. There we go. That's out. Let me clean my iron. And we'll go ahead and put on some solder wick and just attempt to clean that up a little bit more. I always find it's a lot easier to clean the solder out of these holes when you get all the pins out of it. Let's take it on the other side too. All right, let me get one of my solder suckers. Looks pretty clean. Okay. In my iron again. I'm using the iFixit hub right now. I actually really like this thing. Not sponsored by them, by the way. So I'm only telling you about the tools I actually use and like. It's basically just a portable soldering iron, but it heats up so quick. So yeah, I've been enjoying it a little bit. I don't think I'll always use it. I mean, sometimes I think just having a, my good base station works really well. And then I just picked up a reflow tool recently, so I'm looking forward to sorry, a reflow station. So I'm looking forward to lifting chips off the boards a lot easier and being able to swap out HDMI ports and stuff like that on PlayStations and Xboxes. So what do we see here? We've got, sorry, one second. All right. The only thing I don't like right now, it tells you what battery to use, a CR2032, and it's got different size holes on here. So from what I can tell, the negative side is the smaller hole and the positive side is the bigger hole. But there's nothing on the board that actually tells me what side is negative and positive. So let's see if we can even. So we got positive there. We're going to have to straighten out the pin on this one. Which shouldn't be very difficult. It looks like I'm going to have to clip that a little bit too. If possible. All right, so we need that to go through the hole there. That's not going to sit very flush though. Okay. Um, Let me try some metal tubes on this. Oh, I don't have them with me. Okay. You'd think these would be able to cut it. I just want this to be able to sit flush. So if we can get this through the hole. Nope, gonna have to cut off more. I'll have to look into this a little bit and see if there's actually better batteries to get. because I feel like I'm butchering this thing here. Nope. Getting closer. Sorry, this looks really bad. I know this will work in a bind here. It's not the way I'm going to recommend to do it, but I'm going to keep going with this just for the sake of, can it be done at this point? My multimeter's yelling at me. I'm like chewing away at this metal contact. Don't like that still. Did they do anything special for this one? Not really. It just looks like a better tab than what I'm using. All right, when I'm done with tonight's video, I'm going to search and find out which one of these is going to fit best on a Super Nintendo cartridge. I might have it finally. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not perfect, but okay. So then we got to take this other tab and we have to bend it in. And there we go. We have both tabs through. Let's see if I can cut this one. There we go. So looks like it can be done in a bind. It is absolutely not the prettiest looking work I've ever done. But this is flush to the board and should be ready to solder. Let's make sure I didn't break anything here. Oops. Make sure that's on DC. I don't like the way that feels. I'm getting like millivolts here. That's all right. Let's pull it out real quick and see if we can get a better measurement on this. 2.6 volts. 2.7. Well, that sucks. You know, this is one of those things where they say you should test the batteries, even if it's a brand new battery. You should test them before you go through all the work of trying to put it on. All right, let's see. This one's 3.3 volts. Let me try and test this one more time. 2.8. The hell? All right. Well, I want 3.3, so I'm wondering if I messed with it too much. Let's go ahead and bend this one. Let's straighten this one out. Maybe it was me. I'll have to test that out sometime, but you know, I'm sitting here messing with the battery the entire time. Okay. I wonder if I can cut this in half. Come on. The other option I have is I have a Dremel. This might be a little overkill, but that's fine. We'll see how this goes. Come on, get out of there. Now, the smart move here would be to just wait until we get the right battery. But again, I'm testing this to learn. I really just want to see if I can use a 2025 if I'm in a bind. I don't know when that would be. I would never do this to a customer's game. It's it's just not a good practice. But maybe somebody comes to me and they're like, "Hey, I got a big date tonight. We were going to continue our save game, and it's just gonna kill our date night if I don't get this fixed." And I'd be like, you know what? All right, I got you. I'm sure that'll never happen, but it's good to know how to do it and not need it than to need it and not know how to do it, right? All right, let's see if I can grind away a little bit of this. It's nice and hot. Let me straighten that out real quick. Let's see if it'll fit through that hole. I might have to grind some more off. Yeah, I'll have to grind a little bit more off. Oh, dude. Well, that was nice. So, well, this is my first time messing with this, so this battery terminal right here just popped right off. But that's okay. I'm gonna actually keep going with this. I'm gonna see if I could solder it back on. All right, this has got to fit this time. Yep, fits right in, nice and snug. Let's see if we can get it soldered onto the battery now. Okay. Hmm. Okay. This is definitely a little too much work for a simple battery replacement. Yeah, I don't know how well that's actually going to work. All right. I'm not giving up yet. We got all the tools out that we need. So let's try this one last time. If this doesn't work, then we'll go ahead and probably just go back to the 2032 battery that was already installed on there. But this is very much a for science type of deal for me right now. I'm just kind of curious as to why my save game fell out earlier. So I was thinking that just changing the battery out would be a good idea, but it is definitely taking more effort than I anticipated. All right, so I have the battery grabbed by the terminal. Before we do that, let's go ahead and test the battery. Okay, 3.2 something volts. That's better than 2.8, I think it was last time. All right, have it by the terminal. Let's go ahead and grab the Dremel. Okay. Jesus. Oh my God. That ripped the terminal. All right, seriously, last try. This again, way too much effort, but I don't know. It's kind of fun. I hope if anybody's watching this and they're just kind of having a good time laughing at this, um, I hope the most you get out of this is don't try this. Just do it right. All right. So bending one more battery. Instead of bending it back up too, I think I'm gonna try and leave it like this. Okay. Damn. Yeah, I just want to pop that battery back every time with the wheel. Okay. I may have just gotten that. Let's see if it fits through here. Yep, that lays flush. We should be good. Now let's test the battery. .318 volts. Good. Okay. It's gonna work this time. So let's bend this tab down. That's perfect. And this ideally should just pop right in. Just try to bend these in a little bit better. Okay, that'll sit flush. All right, where'd my snips go? There. I'm just gonna trim this one a little bit here. There we go. Okay, let's add some liquid flux. And get our soldering iron. And let's flow some solder into this. Okay. All right, we got a battery in. Let's make sure the battery is getting 3.3 volts onto the board now. Yep, 3 volts onto the board. Good. All right, let's see if we can reflow this just a little bit better. Okay. All right. So last thing we got to do for this cartridge specifically, we should be done soldering tonight, by the way. Bummed that I just wasted some batteries, but at least I got this done. All right, so we're going to be careful with the label. We don't want to get any isopropyl alcohol on the labels. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out. Oh, while we're at it, let's go ahead and clean up the back of this. Put that to the side. Okay, now let's scrub the cartridge. Looks like somebody put out a cigarette on this thing at one point in time. Not sure if that is. Actually, I did get quite a bit of that off. No, that's definitely burned in. All right, let me see if I can use a magic eraser here. Oops. Yeah, the magic eraser is actually doing some work on some of this. So I'm just putting isopropyl alcohol onto the magic eraser. The magic eraser is very abrasive. Well, slightly abrasive. Sometimes I'll actually use it on the cartridge pins itself, depending on how dirty they are. Got a tiny bit of rubbing alcohol on the label, back label, but I don't think it'll do anything as long as we're very quick with getting it off. I'm not hitting the label. I'm just, that dirt mark is just right next to the label, so. Yeah, I ended up getting most of the dirt off that. That's pretty nice. There are, there is like a little burn mark there though. So somebody definitely did put out a cigarette on that at one time. That's kind of gross. I used to smoke too, and I can tell you that's still gross. I do not smoke anymore though. So I've gotten quite a few views already tonight. I do appreciate it. Oh, sorry, I didn't even see the chat. This makes me nervous. What makes you nervous? Oh, battery experimentation. Well, there's nothing to worry about the battery too much. It's 3.3 volts. That's the most important part about it. Whether it was the stock battery, the 2032, or it was the new battery, they're both 3.3 volts, so they're not going to hurt the cartridge. Now, if you're talking about me taking a grinder to the battery terminal, I get that. There's just little metal dust particles that go onto the skin a little bit, but I've I've grinded away metal with a Dremel quite a few times, so I'm not really worried about it. I don't advise people to do that though. If anything, everybody just learned how bad of an idea that is. It just doesn't make any sense. Plus, the experiment cost me 4 batteries tonight, so not a good idea. Just don't do it. Okay. So we got the back of the cartridge clean, we got the cartridge clean itself. Now, let's get the front face of the cartridge. Oops, that's 40V, not isopropyl. Again, being very cautious not to get the label. Alcohol does tend to fade out the labels. If you want to clean the labels, I believe you can use a tiny bit, like a drop of dish soap, inside distilled water. And it's got to be done very delicately. Don't quote me on that. It's still something I'm learning myself, but last time I looked into it, it was distilled water and dish soap. And a Q-tip, and very, very light pressing. We're just trying to get dirt off labels, not scrub the color off. Okay. And this is kind of an important process sometimes. I mean, you're looking at 20, 30 years of grime and dirt. Like, if you're really into collecting this stuff, you got to take good care of it. Put some value back into it. I mean, these are video games. It's not like it's a old gun or something like that, or an old piece of metal where you want the patina on it. It's plastic. We want mint condition. The next cartridge we clean is going to be NBA Jam, and that one has some yellowing on it. So we will definitely do some. Actually, probably should have done that one first while I was going to start cleaning the Super Nintendo. Sometimes it doesn't take long for the yellowing to get knocked out. Let me put this Super Mario World back together. Well, first, before we do that, let me clean the inside. It doesn't need much. Except for the cigarette burn on the back, this thing is fairly well taken care of. It still is really gross, though. Okay. So, back of the cartridge, the battery faces down. And the plastic grooves here are what hold the cartridge into place. Actually, I'm sorry. Before we put this back in, let me get some deoxit. Just do a couple drops. And these are double-sided, unlike the Game Boy cartridges. Just throw a little more drop on there. So deoxit, some of it actually, the deoxit red typically takes off any kind of oxidation. Oh God, why can't I think of the name of it? Corrosion. It eats away at corrosion and restores some life back into the pins. The deoxit gold usually works best on gold conductive material, but it does protect it offers like a protection and lubricant, slight lubricant to the pins. So anytime I restore a cartridge, I tend to put deoxit on it. Okay. So battery down on into the back of the cartridge. Make sure both tabs line up with the PCB. And then we'll align the top tabs and close it. and put in the 2 screws. Oh, I know why my chat didn't come through on the other window. It's not open on the main streaming server. Okay. Hopefully I should be able to see chat now. Okay. So, Super Mario World, cleaned up, battery replaced. We'll test that out in a second. What we're going to do next is take NBA Jam apart. And we're going to start, not only are we going to clean it, but we're also going to use some hydrogen peroxide on the rear of the cartridge. The front of the cartridge doesn't have any yellowing on it, just a little bit of dirt from what I can see. That's how small this cartridge is for NBA Jam. It's so funny. Okay, back of the cartridge, however, has quite a bit of yellowing on it. So let's clean it first. Just to get as much of the dirt off of it as we can. Again, I'm avoiding the label. The label will fade away with rubbing alcohol. Okay, let's grab the sides. All right, and then there were some pretty gnarly areas on here. Let me grab the magic eraser, and we'll give it a once over with that. I feel like there's another burn mark on here. Um, Grabbing a plastic spudger right here, see if I can scrape some of this off. It is coming off, actually. So just some gnarly grime. That's gross. I mean, what can you expect, though, when it's 20 to 30-year-old video games? The person I bought it off of, super nice. Clears out garage sales and storage units and stuff like that. So I'm hoping hoping he's going to have some more. He was interested in what I did, so I'm hoping to actually have a lot more projects coming up here pretty soon. Um, yeah, it's still pretty grimy, but it's working. So give me one more second, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some 40 volume hydrogen peroxide. It's a what is it? It's a gel. They use it for, hairstylists usually use it. And we're gonna end up putting this in a plastic bag after. We're gonna be kind of careful here though. What I'll do is use a little bit of masking tape. And just with the hopes of protecting the label here. Jesus, my gloves are falling apart. Okay, so I'm tracing the outline here. Now this is just with the hopes to protect the label. I know it's just a back label, but I don't want to ruin it. Just trying to get a sharp tool in here. I actually don't have a knife with me right now. And this is just masking tape, and this shouldn't hurt the sticker at all. The label on the back. All right, almost done here. Okay. Great. So let's go ahead and get a brush. One of my gloves was falling apart here. Okay. So I'm just going to open the 40V hydrogen peroxide. Actually, before I do that, let's give it a little bit of a shake. All right. We're just going to dip our brush in it. And we're just going to generously start applying the hydrogen peroxide to the plastic. Now, why am I doing this on NBA Jam? Just to test it on NBA Jam and make sure I'm not doing it on a really expensive game eventually. I know it seems kind of ridiculous, but I got to learn this somehow. So your best bet in learning this is to buy cheap games and try it on the cheap games that if you end up messing it up, you go, oh well. I mean, NBA Jam was a great game. Don't get me wrong. I actually loved that game as a kid. But you know, this cost me maybe $10, and that might have even been overpriced when I got it. So I bought this with the purpose of actually being able to test consoles, or not just consoles, but my I'm building a open source cartridge reader. So that's next on my list, and I needed cartridges to test out, make sure I could back up any save files, even though I don't think NBA Jam has a save file, but I do want to be able to back up the ROM, so that's fine. So I'm just covering the plastic ever so gently with the hydrogen peroxide. And I got it on all sides here. In order for this to work, you need to put it in a plastic bag. Or wrap it with saran wrap or something like that. I've had luck with plastic bags. They also recommend sunlight, but I have successfully gotten this done without sunlight. So I am actually going to press this down into the plastic. And we're literally just going to put this aside. Oops. And ideally, you should eventually see some bubbles in here when it starts working. So that's all there is to it. We'll see if there's any progress with it by the time I'm done tonight. There's a chance that we might need to wait until tomorrow. Just depends on how bad the yellowing is. I've done this on Game Boy DMG cartridges before, and it's worked very well on those. All right, let me clean up here just a tiny bit. We do have the rest of that cartridge to clean, which I'm going to get that done tonight. I think we'll just do that real quick. This cartridge is actually looking even better than the Super Mario one. Okay. So we're just going to give the board and the pins a scrub. I did not see any corrosion on this at all, so that's great. Okay, we'll put that aside for a second. Oops. The front of the cartridge looks so much better. I don't know what happened to the back. Okay. Then we'll just get the inside of this. And we'll go ahead and put it aside for a little bit after that. Okay. So we'll take the board and we'll just put it aside with the other game while we're waiting for the hydrogen peroxide to work. These screws, I'll just pop them on a magnet over here. And we are ready. Why don't we actually give... Oh, excuse me 1 second. I'll tape it up here. There's our Super Nintendo. Why don't we go ahead and switch over to capture? And we'll plug in, we got the power plugged in already. We got a controller plugged in. Let's grab our video cable. And this is plugged right into my capture card. So let's at least test the Mario game. And power, let's see what we get. And that booted right up that time. All right. So I just want to play this real quick and get just past the first level, I think. I need to bring this over to the other screen so I can see it. Oh, I already died. Wow. Wasn't paying attention. Oh. My capture card's on my streaming PC, and I don't have this hooked up to a monitor right now. So there's quite a delay. And I'm actually doing all right. Oof. Oh, that delay is rough. There we go. Surprised how good this looks on a capture card, to be honest with you. Nice. No, what did I do? Oh. A 1-up to my death. Nice. Well, I'm not gonna waste time on this all night. The delay is so bad that I can't play it properly. But there we go. Let's go ahead and unplug the power from this, unplug video, unplug the controller, take out the game, which I'm very happy that that just worked. All right, there goes video. There goes. I mean, look at how decent the condition is on this. It's got like one little mark there on the side. A little bit of grime in the button. And a couple marks on the bottom. But, I mean, this thing is solid. It's even got the bottom port cover. Yeah, I really like this thing. Now it's going to use the bigger one. So we need... What is that, a 4.5? I hope so. Dude, that thing is cranked in there. Yeah, it's a 4.5, but man, somebody cranked this one down. There we go. Now, I have never opened a Super Nintendo before. This is my first time. So, looking forward to learning about this. Hopefully getting this thing nice and clean. I will not be tightening the screws this much. Is there any more screws stuck in here? Yeah, there's one. There we go. All right, that's all 6 of them. And that just popped off nice and easy. So I like that. And that's gross. That's just stuck in there. Okay. So we don't want to lose that spring or the rod, but we're going to want to get that nice and clean. Let's see, we got our power switch that's connected to the board. And that seems to be held in by 2 screws. I gotta be honest, I didn't even look up a video on this one. This is really cool. How much easier these things are to take apart, to be honest with you. Okay, let's what the hell is that? It's like there's a ground point there. I'm gonna take off this heat sink. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3. Oh, the ones in the back are a little longer. I actually don't know if I need to remove that yet. Those do feel like they're slight. Oh no, that just lifted right up. Okay, so that's out. All right, so those are a little bigger. What else do we got here? I might actually check to see if we can do a Bluetooth mod on this eventually. I don't remember if that exists. That would be really cool though if it did. Okay, let me flip this around. Looks like there's one on the bottom here. And I think we're gonna have to take out. There's 2 screws here that are holding in all the video components. So let's take one out. These are longer screws. 2 out. And this just pops right off. Very cool. There's the dev port on the bottom. This is soldered in there. It looks like we could pop out that screw though and probably take this whole heatsink off if we took the screws out on the bottom. I don't know if I want to do all that today. I don't see any puffy capacitors or anything on here, so that's a good thing. I don't see any leaks on the board. The board's very dusty, so it does need to be cleaned. I'm going to go ahead and set that aside for right now, though. And let's go ahead and clean this out. We'll clean the bottom of it first, actually. So, where did my magic eraser go? Here it is. I'm going to see if I can get some of these marks off here. Oh, yeah. Nice. I love a magic eraser. It's a very light abrasive, so I mean, it acts as like micro sandpaper. Doesn't seem to leave any marks on any of the plastic, so I haven't had. It might scuff some shiny plastic. I would not recommend using it on any type of like transparent shells or anything like that. It's just not a good idea. Which I might want to get a transparent shell for this thing. That looks so cool, just sitting on a shelf somewhere. I'm not sure though, because this one might be a testing, Super Nintendo for me. And if I'm going to be plugging in people's games in and out of it, it may not be a good idea to have like a, I don't know. I'm pretty careful with my stuff. You know, give that some thought. Maybe this will end up being just kind of a play. Well, I mean, testing, but also a play Super Nintendo. I really don't know how often I'll use it, except for trying to expand my hobby slash maybe future career there. I figured there's some day where I'm just not going to want to do IT anymore exactly, and maybe want to fall back to something that's a little bit more fun. Okay. Got all the marks off this. That's great. Got all the grime. I'm just using a microfiber right now to clean the outside. And I don't think we're going to need to... This is just all dust in here. First things first. This thing is a hell of a canned air replacement. It's a rechargeable by Hurricane. Yeah. It's a little loud, so I apologize for that, but it's pretty powerful too. I think this thing's actually more powerful than canned air itself. Oh, drop the screw. Might have dropped a couple screws actually. So we'll just give the inside a quick wipe down. Okay, there's a couple spots in here, not many though. Hmm. Okay. That bottom tray is looking good. Got all the grime and dust cleared out. Well, there's one more speck. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting this thing back together slowly. Before we pop the motherboard back in, I'll put this aside real quick. Let's go ahead and definitely clear out don't think this is going to come off unless we solder it off. Okay, so let's get down in the pins here. And it's funny because you can see quite a bit of wear on this, on the metal itself. Let's see if the brush can get down into it a little bit better and maybe buff out some of the metal, but I don't think it's going to be able to. That might actually be working. No. No, 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 no. We don't want to do that. Yeah, that's just scuffed metal. Okay. Alcohol it is, and that's all we're going to use on that. Okay. So just working my way around the board. We're gonna be a little careful here. We don't want to damage anything on the board. But I do want to make sure that there's no corrosion on it. Clean up any little bit of corrosion there might be. Like I said, there's no pop capacitors or alkaline leaks on it or anything like that. So this is actually a fairly good condition Super Nintendo. Give it one more clean down in the cartridge pin area here. All right. This thing should have no problem at all reading cartridges now. Um, oh, you know what? Before we do that, let's get the other side too. That underside looks really good. Okay. I'm just going over this real light. Okay. All right, now let's get the bottom piece done here. We'll pop that back in. And that just lays in there real nice. Okay. So there were two longer screws in the back here. We're not going to go too hard on these screws. They shouldn't require much force to get in. The cartridge tie downs right here should be the longer ones. Okay. Spin that around. Let's go ahead and clean this heat shield off. We'll use isopropyl alcohol for that too. Pretty much everything's going to be isopropyl alcohol. We're just going to clean off all the grime, little dust particles that are on it. Okay. That just pops in there just like that. Man, these parts are going in so nice and easy. So this was two shorter screws. By the way, I'm using a Phillips 0 for this. Or is it? Sorry, Phillips 1. Not a Phillips 2, just a Phillips 1 for this one. You might be able to use a Phillips 2 on it, but the Phillips 1's working really well. Okay. Next thing. There's a little bit of grime on this, but not much. I'll take let me put this to the side real quick. And we'll clean out the ports the best we possibly can there. God, these are so solid. They really don't make them like this anymore. I can never dream of doing this to like my Switch or my Xbox or anything like that. I mean, yeah, you can clean it gently. You can clean those devices gently, of course, but I am scrubbing this in some areas. I mean, even these ribbon cables on here are just so thick compared to a normal ribbon cable that we see today. Let me actually pop that out real quick. I'm going to turn this. There we go. All right, that's set. We got 3 screws left over in here. Let me set this back aside real quick. So definitely want to clean this. That's the eject button. This probably has the most grime on it out of everything on the console, except for those buttons, of course. Like the power and reset buttons. Power and reset buttons are actually kind of really grimy. All right, we'll take the magic eraser to this. I think that did it. That got all the dirt off. So give this a wipe down. Okay. So there was 2 pieces to this. And that would be, depending on where I put, okay, here they are. We have the spring, and we have the rod that goes all the way through it here. So rod goes in on the right-hand side, pushes all the way through for the most part until we get the spring on. And oh, okay, I see. there's a hole on the left standoff here. If you guys can see that. So that's where the spring goes. And then the spring has to hook on to that latch right there, which is also on the left-hand side of the eject button itself. The hard part here seems to just be keeping everything aligned and getting it back in, but there we go. That's in. Oh, this thing's going to be looking brand new by the time we're done with it. All right, we got 3 more screws, and I know where 2 of them go. 2 of them will go into this power switch, which is gross. Okay. So we're definitely going to clean that power switch out with alcohol. Okay. Bring this back. There's only one way that can go on, so that's great. We'll pop in the 2 screws. Okay. Take the 3-pin connector here, pop it into its port. And we got 1 more screw. Where did it come from? Ah. Last screw goes here. This is for the inside anyways, to mount the motherboard. There we go. Super easy to figure this one out. Just for a strip and clean. Can't beat that. All right, before we close it back up, let's go ahead and switch back to capture mode. And we'll plug this in with the video. And where's my power? Like any computer, don't ever close it all the way until you test it out. Just get it put back together just enough so you can test it out. Okay, power's in. We're going to gently pop in a cartridge and hit the power button. And it just comes right up. All right, where is my controller? I should have plugged that in. So we're almost done here, but, well, kind of. And there's my save right there, so that's good. I like to see that. And let's turn that off. Switch back to workstation mode. And let's get everything unplugged. I am going to take the controller apart tonight, too. That'll be the last thing we do. Well, maybe not the last thing. Depends on how the NBA Jam cartridge is going. Let me put this aside after we unplug everything. Are you as excited as I am that I was able to take it apart the first try and put it back together? without breaking anything. Oh, I love these old systems. They're so easy to work on. All right, so this thing's a little grimy, but it is the top piece. So this Nintendo logo's got a bunch of grime in there. By the way, I have to add this. Kix Trash Can is my girlfriend. She watches every stream because she's the best. But I would not have this Super Nintendo if she didn't drive my ass 45 minutes in heavy traffic to go get it. I wasn't feeling very well. And I was like, but I really want to go get this. So thank you, hon. You gave me a nice stream tonight. If you guys are having a hard time finding significant others that can put up with you playing video games, date an autistic woman. It works for me. Like I said, she's watching, so that's why I'm talking shit right now. Okay. I don't think I'm going to take apart the button assembly on the bottom here. I don't. You know what? Yeah, we are. I almost tried to talk myself out of it, and it's like I found furries and grime under these buttons inside the console. So let's just do it. Watch, this is where it all goes wrong. Okay. Nope, those two screws down there do need to come out. So that's 5 screws. That was more than the motherboard took, I think. No, not quite. There was a couple more, but wow. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of intricate under here. Yep. Okay, so we got to take... Okay, no, there is more screws in this than there is in the entire motherboard now. There's 2 more back here. All right. So there is one spring that is attached to something that will not lift off. But that actually looks fairly simple to deal with. It's just a latch, it looks like. I might need tweezers for that. Or some needle nose pliers. I'm thinking tweezers might be easier. All right, what is it hooked on? It's like stuck. Let me flip that around and see. Oh, that piece came out. So I'm holding down the button so that it won't move, and it is pretty stuck. Okay, a lot easier to take off on the attached piece itself. There we go. Just gnarly pieces of plastic in here. This is so cool. All right, so to pop these buttons out, it looks like there's little tabs that you can squeeze. There's 4 of them though. That pops out, and then the button comes off. Same with this side. And since the spring is off, I'm being forceful on this, but I am not trying to break these plastics. There we go. And now this came off. Okay. Man. 2 tabs here, push down, and this just fell right out. And this would pop right out now too. Okay, you know what? I'm actually glad that we took that off. There's so much grime under that button. Both of them, actually. There's quite a bit of grime on both. So now we can spend some extra detail on that and make sure we get rid of all that crap. Telling you, if I was being a perfectionist on this, I would just replace that sticker and I think it would be absolutely perfect. There's no major scratches in this. This is a really nice console. I'm wondering if I should paint it. I actually don't think I want to mess with this one. Part of me wanted to get like a see-through shell. It would just be so cool to look at all the time. But this thing is really nice looking. If I do, I'm gonna keep this one intact somewhere. Like maybe just store it and then enjoy a see-through shell, or maybe just give this body away to somebody else who would enjoy it even more than I would or something. I've always liked modding stuff. And it doesn't matter what I'm into. If I can mod it, I always figure out how to mod it. So that's just something I've always been into. I like tinkering. Yeah, whoever had it must have had it in storage for a long time, and when they had it, they must have just taken really good care of it. So impressed with this. I mean, this came out in like, when did this come out? Let's see. 91. There's a date of 91 on here. That might be like a manufacturing date, so I might be off. But even if it came out in 91, I mean, this thing is over 30 years old now. And I'm able to make this thing look practically brand new. Like, are you kidding me? Okay, let's put that aside for a second. Nintendo, if you ever see this, you guys really got to bring this stuff back. Make a big bulky console again that kicks ass. Everybody would be super into it. Don't get me wrong, the Switch is great. I love my Switch. It's nice to have a console that you can just take with you anywhere that has a nice, modern, beautiful screen. But man, would it be nice to have like a home console like this again that has cartridges? And yes, I know the Switch has cartridges too. Big ass cartridges. Getting back into this again, I had to go pick up almost a cartridge of every type of system, or all the main systems, like Genesis, Master System, NES, Super Nintendo, N64, um, anything so I could back up save files and uh, backup ROMs if I need to, clean up, replace batteries, restore save files. So I'm making an open source cartridge reader, and had to go buy old cartridges. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get the cheapest cartridge possible. We got to watch our spending a little bit here. And it was so nostalgic just sitting there looking at these games. And I found a lot of games that I had as a kid that were just really cheap, like X-Men for Sega Genesis. Oh, that game used to piss me off. I was never any good at it as a kid. And I was like, you know what? I gotta buy it. I remember this game so well. So I ended up buying that. I bought N64, like what was that one game called again? I don't remember what it's called, but it was like Wave Racer or something like that. I bought Mario Duck Hunt for the NES, NBA Jam, which I loved NBA Jam as a kid. The hell is that? Did I get anything else? I don't think I got anything else. The X-Men one really set me back though, because I was just like, oh, not financially. I mean, just emotionally, I guess, because I was like, wow. Do you know how many times I sat there just yelling at this game as a kid? But I never gave up on it because I loved the X-Men so much as a kid. You know, I kind of grew out of that. Not that the X-Men aren't great and everything, but um, now my interest is punk rock and Nintendo, which I'd love to listen to some punk rock on stream, but I don't have time to figure out what's copyright protected and what's not. And I'd rather share all this stuff with you guys. I think Spotify has channels that are specifically for non-copyright. I'll have to look into it a little bit more when I get some time. All right, all these pieces are nice and clean, except for the buttons. Let me do the buttons real quick. I was getting excited. I thought I was about to put it back together. Not much here. All right, these need a cleaning. Not the reset button as much. At least my stream went back to normal tonight. Okay. Let's get this one wiped down. All right, this one was grimy. Yeah, there's like finger goo on that and everything. Can't believe these buttons, like the white text on it isn't faded either. Okay. Everything on the console is clean. Okay, so this goes here. Question is, how does the spring go? Ooh. So if that goes like that, that's how that's going to go. It's going to get pinched down in there. All right, let's try and get that partly started there. Okay. I'll figure this out. Just going to take me a second. Okay. That is in there. And we have this piece that goes here. Okay. So we got power and we got reset. Okay. Nice. These are two different sizes. And you can really tell which one goes to which. So there's no getting that wrong, which is good to know. All right, so we'll push the button through and there we go. There. Let's get this button pushed in. There we go. Put this back. Now flip it over again. All right. You know what? We got one more thing to clean. Let me move this to the side real quick. And this is where the cartridge falls through to. And this you can see is actually pretty dusty in there. So I don't know how many times tonight I've said this is the last thing I need to clean, but sorry about that. I'm not going to say that anymore because there might be another thing I have to clean. This is what really impresses me about this build too is I've never taken one of these apart, and I did not watch a single video on how to take this apart. Um, I did look up videos on can you install an HDMI port, and I didn't see a whole lot out there that offered full 1080p upscaling support yet. I'll keep diving deep into that just to see if if there's a way to do it. I think that's something I wouldn't mind doing. It depends on how expensive it is, though. I mean, Super Nintendo was a great system for its time, but there's kind of better systems out there if you want to modify them. I would almost argue that a GameCube would probably be a better system to modify. Um, but again, I mean, it really just depends. I mean, for me, it's like going from Game Boy to Game Boy Color and then Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance can play everything. So if you want to play retro game console or cartridges, you're better off probably running a Game Boy Advance. Um, Especially when you can modify that with an IPS screen and rechargeable batteries now and all kinds of good stuff. Just getting a little bit of sticky grime out of this cartridge slot. Get all the dust bunnies out of this. But yeah, considering never taking one of these apart before and not even coming close to breaking anything or having any trouble, man, this is just a relaxing console to take apart. I mean, for that alone, I'm just really glad I got one of these just for the experience. If anybody ever wants me to repair one of these, it's going to be a good day for me. Hopefully. Knock on wood. Usually the only problems that I heard about these two are just capacitor problems. So okay, let's clean this area out just a tiny bit. Okay. So put that back into place. Now for the possible hard part. I got the spring in on one side. Let's see if we can get it in on the other. So much easier to get that back in than it was to take it off. All right. That kind of annoys the hell out of me, to be honest with you. So let's get some screws back in. We're at 11:03. That's not bad. I got about 2 hours into this stream. Let's we'll keep it going. As soon as I get this tested out, we'll go in and take apart the controller, get that nice and cleaned out. I probably won't be running that controller if I, keep choosing to play the Super Nintendo. I'll probably find something that's just a little bit better. I think there's a company, it's called 8-Bit Do or something like that. They sell a wireless kit for the Super Nintendo that looks really cool. It's got like a see-through black or see-through green shell on it. I really like it. But I think the thing that's going to get me to actually sit here and play Super Nintendo is going to be definitely A Link to the Past. I'll need to get a copy of that. Very cool. All right. So here we go. Let's pop that on. First of all, make sure that's down in the off position. We're probably going to have to hold that. It just fell right into place. Love it. There we go. Flip it over. And let's get the 6 screws back in their holes. We're not going to crank these screws down like whoever did before me too. I don't know if that was a Nintendo or if somebody else was in this before. We need our 4.5 game bit. Yeah, these bottom screws right here, they are a little tougher just by default, so maybe nobody cranked it down. Okay. Let's see. Couple scuff marks just because I'm being a perfectionist. Very good. All right, let's get this thing back together. Sorry, is back together. Let's get this thing plugged in. We got the controller. And let's get the power plugged in. Let's get the video plugged in. Let's get a game plugged in. And switch over to capture mode. And here we go. Starts right up. Sweet. All right, that leaves the last thing of the night. And I'll just do cap. All right. So hopefully that should be coming through now. Microphone. Thank you, hon. I got a text message. I should have been reading chat, but she sends me a text message like, I can't fucking hear you. She didn't say it like that, but she's probably thinking it. um, I forgot this was my capture scene, and I didn't add a microphone to it for some reason. Growing pains of starting a streaming channel. There's a lot to learn. So you guys probably didn't hear a damn thing I was saying. Um, I was trying to pull the cable out of this, but it does not seem like it wants to give. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this, and we're going to clean all the nasty hand cheese out of there from somebody else. I think eventually I want to see if they have any cheap but good reshells for this. It'd be really fun to reshell a custom colored SNES controller. Not a whole lot of people would have that, I would think. So I think it'd just be kind of fun. Okay. Well, let's clean the hand cheese. Mm. She's probably thinking, why the hell did I tell him to fix his microphone when he's just going to say things like hand cheese? This is gross. So I was seeing it on my workstation. Ugh. I mean, it happens, but you don't really want to see it. And I guess if I'm going to actually start repairing these things for people, I just got to get used to it, though. And that's the funny thing, though. Even though this grosses me out a little bit, I actually don't blame anybody for it. It's natural. These are crevices that you can't get into unless you take it apart like I am. Doesn't make it any less gross, though. You want nothing to do with that. What if I get really busy and we make lots of money off this and I need help? Better clean some hand cheese. That's what we got kids for, though. Make the kids clean the hand cheese. Once we uh once we get around to playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, she might hop on stream with me and actually play some with me. Just in case anybody watches these and wonders how somebody can actually communicate with me and tolerate me. Okay. Sorry, and when I wipe stuff down, I keep forgetting. I gotta make sure I try and do it on camera. I'm trying to get it close to my face so I can see if there's any more gunk where I'm cleaning. Oh, yeah. Ew. Part of me, after seeing all this, definitely wants to go see if there's new shells for these. Gnarly. It's one thing when it's your hand cheese and you're just like, yeah, it happens. When you know it's not yours, though, you're just like, I don't want to touch that. This is why I wear gloves all the time, because I knew I was going to run into this sometime. I just don't know what's on other people's hands. All right, that's doing a lot better. Yeah, the console has nothing on this thing. I mean, there was a little bit of hand cheese on the power button, but this thing is just loaded. Ew, and it keeps falling out. Uh, Hall effect sticks are definitely something that I am into, especially on the Switch. They're super easy to replace on the Switch. I'm going to be doing my first Pro controller here pretty soon. Um, I just wanted to find a cheap project that I could do on stream and teach some people how to do. So Pro controllers come in probably early next week. Sorry, I already have the Pro controller. It's a Hall effect stick. It's fairly inexpensive for the parts. They're about 15 bucks for the parts. The soldering part is the part that sucks if you don't know how to solder. But other than that, it's fairly easy and absolutely worth uh, doing instead of buying a new $80 to $100 controller these days. The only one I don't know if I'll ever attempt again is the Xbox Elite controller. I successfully got one of those done, and it was an absolute nightmare. I need to do a regular Xbox controller to see if it's as bad or not. I hear that it's not, so that's another one that's going to be on my to-do list eventually. But yeah, doing controllers is probably some decent side job money, which I look forward to eventually doing. Battery replacements on cartridges are really nice and easy, so I hope to do a lot of those. HDMI ports, they're not easy, but they are worth some money. People will pay up to 150 bucks, $200 to get a HDMI port replaced on a PlayStation or Xbox. So, and that's a hell of a lot better than going out and buying a brand new PlayStation or Xbox. So that's a skill that I hope to have under my wing here pretty soon. I have the tools. I just need the broken HDMI port. Cool. Nice and clean. Oh, dude. Gross. Okay, let's clean the buttons. Let's not drop the buttons though. It's amazing how much these button styles are so similar to the Nintendo Switch style. Or I'm sorry, that really should be the other way around. It's amazing how similar the Nintendo Switch buttons are similar to the freaking SNES controller. It's just these are bigger and better made. I mean, there's not a scratch on that thing. They haven't changed much. Like, these are so similar to the Game Boy Advance. Nintendo Switch is very similar when it comes to at least the left and right shoulder buttons. Oh, yeah, that is grody. Oh, this D-pad was the cheesiest part tonight. Oh God, it is caked in there. No. Oh no, that is so bad. I'm not even over exaggerating. It's probably really hard to see on camera, but I mean, there is just caked on black sludge. I am actually really glad that I took this apart. Part of me was like, oh, let's just not drag the stream on too long, but man, just thinking about even using this. Like, I gotta test stuff on this console, so I'm gonna have to use it or buy a brand new controller. Sorry, I'm spending extra time on this one. I'd use the magic eraser, but I don't think I can get the magic eraser into this well enough. So we're just gonna have to take our time. But I mean, the nice thing about this is I'm saving a controller from the landfill. They don't really make many of these anymore, especially original controllers. So, oh God, so much cheese there. Good thing my dog's passed out. She loves cheese. She's like, why do you keep saying cheese? I want cheese. Dude, I just scrape that with metal just to get it off. I should seriously clip this part. Call it the Attack of the Cheese session or something like that. Wonder how they would. Usually, I get some help on naming these, just because I'll spend all day trying to name them. So I'll ask AI every once in a while, like, hey, this is what I did. What should I call it? And probably call it something like stubborn hand cheese. Would you clean it as well as I did? Okay, Just making sure I got the rest of this done. Okay, looking good. Nice and clean. I got it all off. Let's just keep going with a couple of these buttons and we're almost done. I used to love the purple color of these Nintendo Super Nintendo buttons. Purple and gray was such a good color combination for a console back then. And we just got one more shoulder button. There's one button on here that's got a lot of wear on it. Probably the A button or the B button. Jesus. I think I used like a quarter cup of rubbing alcohol just to clean this thing tonight. All right, one more pad. And that's it. So now we put it back together. Beautiful thing about Nintendo controllers is everything only goes in one way. Oh, nope, cheese. Cheese on the bottom. Okay. Which one has... All right, there we go. That one will go there. Yeah, so these all only go in one way, which makes it real nice and easy when it comes to putting everything back. This one's got cheese on it too. Okay. Hopefully that's all the cheese. Okay. This should be going in here, this one in here, and then we need to put the rods in. And do these? Yes. So it does have an L at the top, so we'll put that in the L area. And this one has an R at the top. And the last of this should just be the board, which we have already cleaned. So the board will line up with 5 different posts. And then that sticks through just like that. Make sure that the shoulder buttons are down. Then put the back on. And before we screw it together, up, down, left, right, A, B, X. X feels like shit. Why do you feel like shit, X? That might be an upside down then. It was not upside down, but it was upside something. It was about 45 degrees in the wrong direction. So test the buttons, make sure they work because mine didn't. How annoying would that have been if I put it back together all the way and then I tested it? I am getting decent at this. That's kind of nice. And I'm remembering to do all these steps, learning from my mistakes. There might be a time I stop making mistakes. Then it's just going to be boring. Okay. Test the buttons one more time. A, B, X, Y. Start, select, up, down, left, right, left, right. Feels good. Okay, screwdriver. And let's at least get one in. So let's start with the center. Lots of buffering. Is game still on screen view? Oh, no. Sorry. I just kept it on my reverse capture right now because there's no reason to show my microscope. And as soon as I'm done with this controller, we'll have to test it one more time, and that'll go on screen view. It's a 3-hour stream tonight. It might be a little bit more than my stream box can handle, maybe. So we're luckily wrapping this up here real soon. I had to change some settings at the beginning of it because it was the settings that didn't like it very much. So it was buffering too much during the beginning. I'm going to keep playing with it and doing some research, seeing if we can improve it on this current setup. Okay, so plug the controller back in. Let's switch over to regular capture and power it on. And if I can press start and everything, that's up, down. Let's press A, one player A. Let me test the rest of the buttons when I get in here. That's A and B work fine. Running works fine. I don't know if the shoulder buttons work yet, but I'm pretty sure they do. Can you not pause Mario? Oh, yeah, it's pause. Okay. I thought it used to show a pause screen or something like that. So, well, here we go. I took apart games. I took apart um, controllers. I took apart the entire SNES. We replaced a battery, an RTC battery, or a save battery. I don't know what the hell it was in Mario. I'd have to look that one up. But we replaced a 2032 battery with a 2025 battery. Here's our NBA Jam backing. Let's go ahead and pull it out. I'll redo it again if I have to. It's got a little ways to go. Some sunlight definitely would have helped this quite a bit, but yeah, it's got a little bit of yellowing. I'm not sure if it got any better or not, but what we'll do is I'll probably put it in the window tonight. That way in the morning when I take a look at it, it'll hopefully the yellowing will go away. So here's the other thing too. I have done plastic bags. I know the plastic bags work, but I did have more sun assistance then. Um, I think the best results I ended up having were just using saran wrap. Um, it just creates an effect in there that it like needs to air it all out or something like that. When the plastic can't breathe, it creates a better effect. You know what? I'll actually look up what the science behind that is. Um, and then maybe do an update on how this cartridge turned out. I should have some before and after shots of that. So, anyways, I know I had quite a few watching tonight, so I appreciate anybody that stopped by to take a watch or take a look at what's going on. Um, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it really does help me and keep me going. Um, Eventually, if I get enough subscribers, I can try and monetize this, and if I can monetize it, that means I can get more projects and film more videos. So, if you get a chance, please subscribe. I appreciate any likes or comments that you guys have. Anybody that wants to stop in and chat with me, I know sometimes it's hard for me to read the chat all the time, but I do love chatting with you guys. I've had a couple good conversations on here. I really like the Nintendo community. I haven't run into a negative person yet. Anybody I've talked to, whether it's in public or online, just seems to be a really nice person. So I'm having a lot of fun with this hobby. I hope I can share some things with you guys that help you out and keep this hobby alive for all of us. And do I have any upcoming projects this week? I I got a couple people interested in getting some DSs or DS Lites repaired, so I might be looking at that pretty soon. If I get the Hall effect sticks for the Switch Pro controller, I'll be able to start working on that either tomorrow or the following day. I'm just waiting on some more parts to come in. I spray painted, sorry, airbrushed another shell for one of the kids. Um, Let me see here. So I'm getting better at that. Eventually, I'd like to do one on stream. It's very pink. We have girls, so um, I did my effect without black this time, but it's kind of like a mellow white and pink manga effect to it, I guess, or cell shaded. So hopefully she likes this one, but that'll be a finished Game Boy here eventually. And do I have anything else fun coming up? Not sure I can think of this second, but we're gonna do some more Pokemon. And once I beat Fire Red on stream, I'm going to move to a classic Zelda game because I am really missing some of my classic Zelda games from when I was growing up. So, anyways, thanks for watching tonight, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.